Building a website from scratch using ChatGPT challenge starting now. For today's challenge, I'm not allowed to write any of my own HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. And the theme for the website today is going to be an Italian restaurant. First, I want to set up my prompt here. Now we have our prompt set up. I'm being super descriptive so we can give ChatGPT the best chance of giving us something that looks really nice. And now we're gonna let this generate up some code. And keep in mind, this is not a substitute for actually learning what the heck you're doing.
What?
You still need to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. to really be good at web development, because this is only gonna get you so far. So what it's doing here is it is giving us separate files, which is exactly what we want here. So first we're gonna copy this HTML. We're gonna put it in. It looks pretty solid so far, but we're gonna have to see if it works or not, because ChatGPT is really finicky, especially when you give it large, lengthy prompts like this. So again, I try to be super descriptive, but we're going to see. All right, so I did tell it to validate my form with JavaScript, but it doesn't look like it did so. So we're gonna tell it to add the JavaScript validation, because I told it to do it, but it didn't do it for some reason. All right, so that's generating up our validation. This is going to toggle our mobile navigation, hopefully. Hopefully it's gonna work, no telling here. But what we wanna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna copy this now. This should work for our form validation, hopefully. But we are going to have to see. Now we're gonna save all of this and we're gonna test it. Okay, looks pretty good so far.
Right.
What we need to do now is actually specify some more stuff on our form, because we want this to be in the center. We want it to be rounded along with the inputs. We want those to also be rounded. We want this button to be rounded as well. And then this site menu here doesn't look very good because the links are purple. So we're gonna ask it to make all those changes and then completely regenerate all the code for us from scratch. All right, so we're asking it to make the changes that we need, and we're telling it to redo and include all the code again, because ChatGPT likes to only generate half code for some reason. So it's really, really annoying when it does this. We're gonna see if this actually works and generates all of our code first. All right, this is looking pretty good. Our HTML looks pretty solid. I think where ChatGPT really struggles the most, to be honest, is with the styling, because it's really good at setting up the HTML, but as for the styling, it usually doesn't do that great of a job. Maybe I'm just not being descriptive enough. Let me know if you guys have experience with it. Maybe you guys know the correct way of doing this.
Sometimes science is more art than science, Morty.
What we need to do is we're actually gonna copy all of this just directly from here. It's not letting us copy it with the copy code button here. But let me know if you guys have experience with this, or if you guys know some better prompts that you can put into ChatGPT. And it doesn't look like it redid our JavaScript, but I don't think we need it to. And it looks like we're linking to styles and scripts. And obviously I would put my scripts and CSS in their own separate folders, but ChatGPT just usually sets it up this way. So that's why I am doing it this way as well. Now we're gonna try and save this. Hopefully this is gonna do what we want. So it looks like it added that reset button. It did not center my form for some reason. Okay, no, we didn't save it correctly. So now we're gonna redo it. Now it's looking clean. So except for this, we need this to be centered, obviously, and our buttons are spread apart from each other, which looks pretty ridiculous. But other than that, this is actually looking pretty good, and we got a little bit of white down here at the bottom that we could get rid of, but for the time being, it actually doesn't look too terrible at all. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is see if I can get ChatGPT to fix these buttons, and I also wanna see if this is responsive or not. So I wanna see if it turns into our 3 bars or not. All right, let's try it this way. So no, it's not giving us our responsive navigation here. Maybe it's actually off the screen. ChatGPT likes to do this crazy thing where it pushes your content off the screen and then it just does not want to let you put it back on the screen. So yeah, it's adding some padding here, but I don't think it's off the screen here. No, so it should be adding the font awesome links here. I don't know why that's what I asked it to do. I asked it to add font awesome, but it's not actually linking to font awesome. So what we're gonna do is go back, tell this to link to font awesome, and then see if we can get this to work.
It's genius!
Right, so we entered our changes here, and now we're gonna make it rewrite all the code for us again, because again, ChatGPT likes to write you like little bits and pieces when you really need the whole thing. And for this challenge, I can't actually write any of my own code here. So now for our CSS, give it a second to render because it's doing a lot here. And it looks like it's doing our media query. The last time I was using ChatGPT, for some reason, it decided to do literally everything with JavaScript. So I literally had like a whole bunch of JavaScript in my scripts file for absolutely no reason. All right, here we go. So now it should be linking to Font Awesome correctly. Yes, we are right there. For some reason, it forgot to include the Font Awesome link. So our link was just not working there. Boom. So it looks like it's looking a lot better now, but our buttons are still spaced apart. Let's see if our overlay works. No, our overlay is not working. Am I linking? No, I'm not linking to the right JavaScript file there. I'm not going to consider that cheating. Okay, I'm not going to do it. See if our overlay works now. Go ahead and save. No, our overlay is still not working for some reason. I don't know why. Let's look at our JavaScript here. Toggle menu. It should activate our overlay here. Do we have an overlay? Well, it's not actually opening our overlay because ChatGPT didn't actually generate an overlay for us. As you guys can see here, it's just the navigation with the responsive element here. So it is responsive, it is displaying our icon there, which looks good, but it's not actually enacting the full page overlay that we want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell it to make these changes. All right, here we go. We got our correction prompt entered in. We're gonna let this do its thing and hopefully it's actually going to create our overlay. Okay, it looks like it did create our overlay, and keep in mind in the first prompt that we did ask it to create that overlay. It just didn't do it for some reason. A lot of the times you have to just redo it over and over on ChatGPT until it gets it right for you. So for us, we're gonna go ahead and include this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and change my scripts file to be script.js because that's what ChatGPT keeps giving us. So I'm not technically cheating this, okay, because I can change the names over here. Now what we want to do is take these styles again. I'm really hoping that this is going to be the fix. I'm telling ChatGPT exactly what to do here. I'm telling it exactly what to do. Hopefully we can get that form to center as well on the page. Let's see. No, it's still not centering and our buttons are still spaced apart super far. Let's see if we can just delete some of the code from here. So it's displaying in a flex box, but it's doing space around. I don't really know why we would want to do that, but nonetheless, it is doing that. So maybe we'll just take that off for now. Display flex, we may not want. We really just want these to be in the center. We don't really want anything fancy, so we may just use margin or something like that. So for some reason, it's not generating exactly what we want. I think if we put auto here, it should be in the middle of our page now. So yeah, now it's working, and we just need to change these buttons into the center now. And for some reason, our overlay is not displaying either, and I'm not getting any kind of error message here or anything like that in our console. So I'm gonna try and get that to work as well. Now we just need to change these styles because it's doing this annoying spacing. So what we're gonna do is just create a text align center. And then we're gonna input this. Hopefully we can just get this to work on the first go around. And here we go. We're just gonna copy this. We're gonna replace our display flex. Yes, so now our buttons are in the center and looking okay. It does have that little hover effect. They are a little bit fat at the bottom, but that's gonna be okay for today's video, I think. We're really just trying to get a solid template So we'll go ahead and leave that for now. Now we need a create margin auto property for our actual form. Okay, so it did create margin auto here. So we're just gonna take this and then we're simply going to find our form and we're going to paste it in right here. Leave that 50 pixel margin. Okay, so for some reason, I think ChatGPT might be rewriting our code twice. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we have form section. No, I think I just screwed it up. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go take our code again, select everything here, and now we're going to paste. Hopefully that should work because I think it might have been regenerating it twice. So now we're gonna go ahead and save. And now we're back to square one again for some reason. Now we need to find our form section and just center that in the middle. So form section. So we have this style here, which we do not want. We're gonna go take the new style that we generated here, put it in for this one because we need the margin left and right to be auto. And then we also need to use the text align for our buttons. So for our button container, we're gonna get rid of the display flex and simply text align center, and that should fix our form the way we want it now. So boom, now it's starting to look good, but our overlay is still not working. I really don't understand why this is struggling so much with our overlay. Tell it simply, the overlay is not working. Okay, so it looks like it might actually be working here. We just don't have the overlay styles. You think ChatGPT would know to add the overlay styles because then it's not gonna actually display anything. No, so we do have our overlay styles and it looks exactly the same here. Looks good. Yeah, it's exactly the same as what we already have. So it did generate the styles for us, but now it's not displaying. So maybe it's our JavaScript here. Maybe it's our JavaScript that's not working. So we're gonna try and replace this here because JavaScript form validation is our second function there. So now we're gonna try this out and see if this works. So now we have our navigation successfully working. Is this the way I would create it? Probably not. So we're gonna try and change it with ChatGPT here. All right, so here we go. Now we're gonna try with these new styles. We literally told it to use absolute positioning to position our text in the center because obviously on a mobile device, that's probably how you would want it to be. But for now, we're gonna see if this works. Hopefully it regenerated some of our JavaScript. I don't think it did, but I don't think it necessarily has to if it has the right styles. So now we're gonna try again, but now we don't have any text for some reason, and it's supposed to stop the scroll. Okay, so now it's saying to add these to our mobile menu. So we're gonna go ahead and take its advice, see if this works. Except for the fact that we already have these, in here. So, but it does look like ChatGPT is kind of screwing this up a little bit because there's not a closing div. Our content's not inside of our div element. So ChatGPT screwed that up. It's just displaying the overlay without our links, which makes zero sense at all why you'd even want to do that. All right, now we're gonna take these styles, which look pretty much identical, but we're gonna put them in there anyways because I think these should be the ones that work. Okay, so this is not great, but it's acceptable. We're gonna run with it, and at least this is setting us up a template that we then can change later on in another video.
Well, thanks for the start. I'm out of here.
But for now, I wanna add my hero image. So this image I already have set up, and for this portion, I do have to write some code. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Gonna add my homepage image. Boom, looks good. We got our hero image. Let's see if it's responsive. Boom, that's what I'm talking about. It's completely responsive and our header is fixed at the top. Navigation is successfully working. Is it beautiful? No, not yet, but we'll probably work on that in another video. This text, we probably want this to be a little bit bigger. But for now, we do have an okay website built within about 10-15 minutes using ChatGPT here without having to write any of our own code. So now I'm going to insert some of the information that I want. Just going to put some random stuff in here. Go ahead and hit submit. So it is checking for an email field here. So I'm going to do @yahoo.com like so. And it is checking for a valid phone number. So we're going to go like this. We're going to put a valid phone number in. And it gives us an alert when it's submitted and it resets. So all of our form validation is set up with JavaScript and it's using regular expressions to test for a valid phone number and a valid email, as you guys can see right here. And I did not have to write any of this myself. All of this came from chat. Obviously, we did have to argue back and forth with it a little bit, but we do have a great homepage template going right here. Now what I want to do is create the menu page. So what I want to do is I'm going to ask ChatGPT to set this up in the grid fashion. All right, now we have our prompt. We're telling it to basically redo all of our code again, but now we want it to create another page. So what we're going to do here is simply copy this one and paste it within Visual Studio Code. We're going to title this one menu.html, just like so. And those are going to be the only 2 pages for our website. You guys can take this a lot further in ChatGPT if you want. But for now, what we want to do is simply replace all of our code in here. And it looks like, oh, it's not including the link for our font awesome. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to take the menu section and paste it in here because we don't want to get rid of our font awesome and all of our linking and script files here. So what we're going to do is simply replace our hero image and our form section with this new code. Now we also want to take these styles here and put them into our style sheet. So hopefully this is not going to override anything that we already have. But what we need to do is open this up and we need to actually create our links too. So create href for home. Oops. It was a little funny there, but it's okay. All right, home and menu. So hopefully this is just going to generate up what we need because we need to actually link to these pages, right? So hopefully this is going to create, all right, so here we go. We got our href values here and we're simply going to replace these in both our mobile and full size header here. And then I also screwed this one up. But all right, now we should be correctly linked up to all of our pages here. We're gonna try this. So it is taking us to our home. See if this takes us to our menu. So now it is successfully creating our menu page too. So now all we need to do is at this point, we should just be able to copy this section. No, I don't think we want to do that. We're going to try and copy these. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to try and copy these divs and paste them like that. And then we should have an image element. Yeah, so boom, we do have our image elements, but what we need to do is actually add our images. So I do have all my images ready to go here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add those now. All right, now we have all of our images added. Let's go ahead and save this and see if it, boom, this is looking really, really good, guys. We got the name of our entree and we got the images here. So now all we need to do is make some fine-tuned adjustments to this. And we're going to have our full Italian restaurant website with 2 entire pages and JavaScript functionality completely set up without writing any of our own code. Instead of writing, obviously, the matching description for our image elements here, what we're gonna do is take our code and we're gonna tell ChatGPT to write that up for us. So we're going to paste this in and then say, so we're going to say create menu item SRCs like that. We're going to see if we can get ChatGPT to write up the names of our food here. So lasagna, margarita pizza. No, it is not successfully writing. So now it's taking away our H3. So we're gonna tell it to redo this again. We're gonna say use the H3 again, but add the correct name of the dish. So now it's writing up a bunch of crazy JavaScript, but we don't want this to use JavaScript. So we're gonna say don't use JS, and then I don't even know what else to put in for this, guys. So we're literally just telling this to stop using JavaScript. Classic lasagna, fettuccine alfredo, pepperoni pizza, add similar structures. So it did create them for these two. So we're actually gonna go ahead and copy this one and put it in now. But what we needed it to do is also create it for our last 3 menu items here, which it's not currently doing. So we're gonna paste this in. All right, and then we're gonna copy this one and we're gonna tell it to do the same thing with these. Oops, I didn't even put anything in. No, stop it. Now we're gonna go back and put our code in like this. Boom. Hopefully this will work. Spaghetti, which is what we want, margarita pizza, and chicken parmesan. Boom. We are good to go now. So we're gonna copy this, put it in. This is really a struggle. I did not think it was gonna be this hard to not write any of my own code here and only use ChatGPT. Let's see if this works. Okay, this is perfectly working. We have the price. This is like a super cheap Italian restaurant. I definitely think these prices are a little bit low, but for now, that is okay. We have our images. We have all the content that we want right here on this website. Let's see if our homepage works. Boom, it does successfully work. Let's go back to our menu. Boom, it does look so good, guys. And now what we need to do is just add a little bit of spacing here at the top. And to correct this issue, we just want an H1 element at the top. So we're gonna say create an H1. Boom, okay, so we're gonna see if we can get this H1 to work, and while that's doing its thing, we wanna see if this is responsive or not. So as you guys can see, normally I wouldn't do it this way. But for our case, this may actually look okay on a mobile device. I would rather on a mobile device have it go down to 2 per row, but in our case, it actually does not look bad, guys. I thought it was not going to look good, so we're actually just going to run with what ChatGPT gives us. In my mind, I probably wouldn't do that, and now it generated our code here, but we actually need the H1 element. So create H1. So now we're going to create the H1, and we want a custom class because we don't want to target all H1s here. Get this to work here. So this is still going to be part of our menu section. And now we just want a little bit of margin at the top because our header is fixed. So that's why it's overlaying over the top of our images. But once we add in the correct margin here, we should be good to go. All right, but now it's displaying within our grid layout. So we don't want it to do that. So we're gonna go back to our menu here, and we are going to take this outside of our grid layout and simply put it right before our section element. And I keep refreshing ChatGPT. All right, so here, but it's not centered for some reason. So for some reason, it is not centering it. We're gonna create more margin at the top, and then we're also going to center it just like this. Now we wanna go back here and paste in this new code. This should be our last thing here, guys. So our margin's a little bit too much here, so we're actually going to decrease the margin to 4 rem. Boom, now we have 4 rem here. We're just gonna change the margin top property here. Boom, so now it looks a lot cleaner. We could probably do a little bit more, maybe like 4.5 or 5 rem up here. But for now, this menu page is actually looking pretty clean. Our navigation is successfully working. Our form is successfully validating here and successfully submitting. And everything looks really, really nice. We have our header, our hero image, our form completely validated, our footer, and our menu page completely laid out. Is this a complete website? Probably not. We're probably gonna need to come back and add some more pages. But if you guys wanna see all of that, and you guys wanna see me make this website look a lot better than what it is right now, go down in the comments and let me know. And if we get over 100 likes, we will definitely make another ChatGPT challenge video. But for our case here, we've only been working on this maybe about 30 to 45 minutes, and we have a completely responsive website that actually looks okay. This is not going to win any awards, but it does look all right. If you guys have any questions, make sure you go down in the comments and we will answer you, or go to our website at kelmanwebdesign.com. Go around, play around with this on your own. It's a lot of fun, kind of going back and forth with ChatGPT and editing the styles and the HTML and the JavaScript as you go. And this is a much quicker way to set up a template using ChatGPT instead of having to code everything absolutely from scratch. Thanks for watching.